Hello everybody and welcome. A couple of months ago I found this wooden mushroom at Hobby Lobby. I actually found two of them. This is the smaller one and I want to try painting it today. It is 4 inches wide and it has about 6-inch painting surface on the top. I am going to give it 2 coats of gesso and I'm going to give it 2 coats of this chalky black, and then we'll get to painting. Alright, I have been struggling trying to figure out how am I going to find the center of this thing. Well, you guys, I am going to get out Happy Dotting Company's Tea Light Candle Holder stencil, and I am just going to match up the edges of this, and I'm going to try to eyeball it. And I'm just going to go for it. Then I'm going to get out their little 3-inch dome stencil and give myself just some basic lines on here that I can use my flexible ruler with and get the beginning of some guidelines. Pretty sure my compass will work after that for the circles. Let's see how it goes. Alright, well, it's not the perfect guidelines, but they're totally going to work for me. Y'all know my guidelines are never perfect, but that's okay. Neither is my art. I love it that way. Alright, let's pick out some neutral, mushroomy colors. I want this thing to... I'm thinking of a tan mushroom with the red spots on it, you know, like a cartoony type mushroom, but I want to make it out of a mandala, and I want to make it super groovy and doodly and all of that. So I'm going to pick out some colors and then I'm going to get started. I hope you guys come along with me. I'm going to leave all of the supplies I use down in the descriptions with links. I hope you go and click on everything. Hit that like button if you like my video and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Channel members have already seen this video because they get it on early release. If you're interested in that, check out channel membership. I promise you our channel members are what is keeping these videos alive right now, and I appreciate every single one of you guys. Alright, now I'm going to be quiet and let's get to making this a groovy mushroom, y'all. All right, I let it dry for several days because I want that top good and dry. Now I'm going to get out one of my ceramic dishes. This is just a dish I found at Dollar Tree. I typically use them. I put water in them and rinse my dotting tools with them. So this one's clean and dry. I'm going to put a napkin inside so I don't scratch it. And it looks like it's going to hold it really well. I'm going to go ahead and sign the very bottom of it because I don't know when I'm going to get access to that again. And then those lines underneath it, you know how mushrooms have all the little gills? I'm going to try to walk the dots on these hand-drawn lines and see if we can't come up with some cool illusion like the underneath part of mushroom. And I know that when we set this down on a counter or something, it's likely we won't even see this part. But you guys, I want to share with you something my dad taught me. He used to always, when he was making like tables or furniture or any of his stuff, he would always get down on the floor and look up, and maybe he would glue a little bug or a quarter, or he would do something neat underneath, and he said that was always for the little kids that were on the ground and could see up, and it would give them wonder. Anyway, so I always think about that when I'm doing things like this. So for Dad, I'm gonna put these little lines on here, and we're gonna hope that it's super groovy and only the very curious get to see it. Let's go. Oh, y'all, I think that looks totally cool. All right, and now I'm going to tilt it just a little bit in my dish, and I'm going to start putting maybe just 3 or 4 random mandalas on the stem of this thing. Don't worry, I'm going to run them all together at the end, but I would like for it to look kind of groovy and kind of cool, and I'm thinking that whole vibe. Let's see what we can do. Oh, y'all, it's completely dry now, and I think it's so pretty. This is just what I wanted, but it's just missing something. Y'all know me. I've got to put gold on it. I just can't leave well enough alone. This is honestly where I planned on stopping, but no. I want it super groovy. I want it super fun. I'm going to erase those guidelines on the very bottom, and then I'm going to get out some dotting tools and my fine line brush, and I am just going to decorate it. That's the best word I can think of. I'm gonna have a lot of fun, and I hope that when you do this, you can do exactly what I'm doing if you want to, or you can just let your imagination roll. Basically, we're gonna tie everything together with gold. Y'all cross your fingers that this doesn't turn out too weird, but in my defense, you guys told me to let my weirdo fly free, so I'm doing it right now. Oh man, you guys, what do you think of this? I think it is so cool and it is so groovy, and yet it's really pretty and it's interesting. I like it. I hope you guys all give this a try. Let me know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to hit that like button and all the good things that help my channel out. I want you to check out channel memberships. If you can join, I would so appreciate it. If not, make sure you're subscribed and that you're hitting the like button and you're making comments and sharing my videos. That's a lot of help too. All right, you guys, I'm going to leave some other videos right here for you to watch. And until next time, rock on.